Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Troy Green, and I'm the Chairman, Development Association of Rock Island, known as DARI. And welcome to the DARI's 2021 Corned Beef and Candidates Forum. I'd like to take a moment and thank our candidates for participating in today's forum. I would also like to welcome and thank our DARI board members viewing today's forum on the city's YouTube channel, along with the members here in the audience. Today's forum will involve predetermined questions. Each candidate will have 2 minutes to answer 3 questions, and a final question will be given with 1 minute to respond. We'll begin the forum with the alderman candidates. Once completed, we will then have the mayoral candidates on stage. To keep us on task, DARI will provide timing cues to remind each candidate of how much time remains. They'll be in the back here. To respect people's time attending the forum, we ask that you hold all media questions and interviews until the event has concluded. Our moderator for today's event will be Jim Needleman, WHBF Channel 4 news anchor. Jim grew up in Los Angeles, California. He earned a bachelor's degree in business administrative from the University of California at Berkeley and a master's degree in journalism from Northwestern University. Jim has been honored with several awards for his reporting over the years, including being recognized as the 2005 Associated Press Reporter of the Year for Downstate Illinois while holding the position as primary anchor in Champaign. Jim arrived in the Quad Cities in early 2015. You can catch Jim weeknights anchoring the Local 4 newscast at 5, 6, and 10 p.m. At this time, it's my pleasure to welcome Jim Needleman.
Thank you, Troy. Thank you to everyone who's in the audience and those of you who are watching at home online. We certainly appreciate the fact that everyone is participating in the election process. And going to introduce the aldermanic candidates first. And if you want some more biographical information, please check your programs if you're in-house or watching at home. If you had signed up that you were going to watch, that's available by your email that should have been sent to you. We're going to start off in the aldermanic candidates to introduce them. First of all, we have running for 1st Ward Alderman, Moses Robinson Jr., for 3rd Ward Alderman, Jeffrey D. Westerfield and Judith Higgins Gilbert, and 5th Ward Alderman, Lori Figley, and Dylan Parker. Welcome to all of you. So we're going to go through 4 questions. We're going to go down the line. We'll probably reverse course each way, just so everyone has a chance to go first and last. Those of you who are in the middle will be the middle, just the way it's going to work out. We'll start on the right with Dylan Parker. Question number 1, if elected, what would be your top 3 priorities, and how do you plan to involve the business community in your role as a city council member?
Thanks, Jim, for the question. My top 3 priorities would have to be, we need to do a better job on City Council of having a better defined vision for the future of Rock Island, using things like data and coming up with policies with respect to data and objective criteria. A lot of the times, over the past 4 years of me being on City Council, the council comes up with goals like we want economic development, which obviously is going to include our business community, but how are we actually defining that? In some respects, we do a good job in the city of Rock Island of pursuing some economic development, but we don't do a very good job at letting the world know of what we're doing, right? We don't do a good job at letting our constituents know that $70 million worth of private investment occurred last year, right? So having more data-driven analysis. Number 2 would be making sure that all parts of Rock Island are included in development. We have a long-standing problem of certain parts of the city being disenfranchised and not participating, and frankly, we'll never get anywhere we want as a city without making sure that the whole city is participating. And then 3rd, making sure that we are maintaining clear communication, marketing what we're doing to businesses and constituents and to the public. We should be doing a better job at making sure we solicit the input of our community stakeholders and work with them from the bottom up.
Thank you for your answer. Lori Figley, same question. If elected, what would be your top 3 priorities, and how do you plan to involve the business community in your role as city council?
Okay, well, thank you for the question. My top 3 priorities, 1, of course, we need to improve our infrastructure, improve our downtown. We're all in agreement that it's gone downhill and we need to rebuild it. We need to work together. I agree with my opponent as far as we need to work as a team. The entire city needs to work together. We need to talk to the voters, and every voter that I've talked to wants to get involved. They want to help in one way or another to re-beautify Rock Island, make it more appealing, make more people want to come in. That's one thing I focus on. Getting more people in, more diversity. We need to remember the golden rule. Include everybody, treat everybody fairly, make this a place where everybody can be proud to stay and live. And I think we need to improve different establishments. We have several taverns and stuff, but we need more family-friendly businesses and more variety. And I've always thought that's important. When I was younger, there was so much to do downtown and other parts of Rock Island. Our 11th Street needs a lot of work. And with this money that's coming in through the federal government, it's going to help with infrastructure. It's going to help with potholes and all that stuff. People are going to be happier with that stuff. And I want to help see that accomplished. I want the community to know about what's going on. I want the transparency of letting everyone know. Don't keep secrets. Hey, the voters are the ones who matter. And I want everyone to know what's going on, what we're doing, and I want their input.
Lori Figley, thank you. Judith Higgins-Gilbert, same question. I'll repeat it. If elected, what would be your top 3 priorities, and how do you plan to involve the business community in your role as a city council member?
Thank you, Jim. So my top priority is improving the financial stability of the city. We've had, for the past few years, deficit budgets through no fault really of the city's own, because the public safety pension contributions take a greater and greater contribution every year from the tax levy, and there's less for the general fund as well. This is happening in communities all over Illinois. But we need to educate our citizens about the true nature of the city's finances, the debt we've accumulated, as well as our future liabilities that we face. My second priority is business retention and expansion, along with new economic development. Too often we forget about the businesses that we have here, and they've struggled through the pandemic, and they need our support to strengthen them, and to hopefully they will thrive after this crisis. That would also include, though, revitalizing our downtown. As Lori said, my constituents, they want to see a family-friendly shopping destination. We also need to figure out what to do with the Watchtower site. We just cannot let it go on as being an empty site that nothing is happening with. My third priority is increasing citizen engagement. I spent most of February calling residents in the 3rd Ward. It's a shame that a lot of them are not aware of many of the basic things going on with the city or our successes. More than ever, we have to communicate the success the city has had with things like using the local gas tax to be dedicated for street repair and maintenance, and many other things. So I really want to work on getting more citizens involved. Thank you.
Judith Higgins-Gilbert, thank you. This one for Jeffrey D. Westerfield. The question again is, if elected, what would be your top 3 priorities, and how would you involve the business community in your role as a city council member?
Well, I'd involve the business community by really reaching out, and being listen to their needs, and I think we could probably form some communication with them as far as a committee or something to really get some ideas from them and their needs. A big part of helping the business in this area is just having an open ear to them, see what their needs are, and the downtown is a key part of that. I do think that maybe we could open up that plaza down there and put a street through there, add some charm to this area in downtown Rock Island. We've got historical monies. We've got some other monies coming in that maybe we can make a real impact in the downtown area to help those businesses. We really if we improve just, you know, the feeling down there and the, you know, just the approach to people coming down there, I think could bring in a lot of business to this area. The other thing is, maybe we could do some type of curb appeal campaign to provide funding somehow to businesses, whether they're grants or matching city investment to what they could provide. The other thing is, I'm a one too with that Watchtower Plaza area. If we could actually bring something there to, you know, like the TBK Center, something along those lines, to provide a, you know, a place where people could come and invest their, you know, their time there to bring business in that way too. You know, they're generating a lot for that area and that site. So,
Jeffrey Westerfield, thank you. We'll round out the first round of question number one with Moses Robinson Jr. Mr. Robinson, if elected, what would be your top 3 priorities, and how do you plan to involve the business community if elected as a city council member?
Thank you, Jim. So my first 3, of course, will be transparency, follow through, and knowledge. So what I mean by that is transparency, making sure that we are transparent in everything that we do as a city council, as a city. Follow through is follow through with our directions or the plans that we have in place. We have a vision on our website, but we want to follow through with that. Our constituents are looking for follow through. They want some follow up with what we plan on doing. If that's not appropriate, then we need to go back to the table and rediscuss it and come up with some more vision so we can actually start getting to work. Knowledge. Just like everyone else here at the panel, walking through the neighborhoods and talking to people, they have no idea what some of the programs that we have here as a city. So I see that as a huge issue because we have tons of programs, we have things that are available for our constituents, but they don't know how to get access to them. So that's something we definitely need to improve. The communication going back and forth between either the city council and the citizens or just the city in general. And if we have more, if it's not just a website or something else, but we have to find some way to keep that communication open.
Mr. Robinson, thank you. That is finishing up our first round of questions. Move to question number 2. We're going to reverse direction this time. So you were last. You're going to go first this time, Mr. Robinson. What advantages do you see to the public-private partnership between the city and Dari, and how will you collaborate and strengthen that alliance?
Can you repeat the question for me, please?
Sure. What advantages do you see to the public-private partnership between the city of Rock Island and Dari, and how will you collaborate and strengthen the alliance?
I think the way to collaborate and strengthen the alliance is continue to have that teamwork, working together as a cohesive unit for a common goal. I'm sorry, definitely I'm unfamiliar with a lot of the different things that go on with the city because this is my first time. So I'm new to this, so I'm a freshman. I take that as an advantage, though. That means I don't know the typical things that go on. So I'm coming in with fresh ideas. I'm coming in with a fresh, clean mind, which I think that would be a positive thing. So you're not getting the same typical responses that you typically get all the time. You're getting some fresh, new ideas.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Robinson. Jeffrey Westerfield, what advantages do you see to the public-private partnership between the city of Rock Island and Dari, and how will you collaborate and strengthen the alliance?
yeah, Dari is exactly what I was referring to earlier as far as that communication with the businesses and to keep in touch with the needs of our, you know, our businesses. You know, it's not only, you know, that they bring so many, you know, diverse ideas to the table. I know they've been working with the city for some time. I'd like to strengthen any type of development ideas they have as far as improving the economic situation here in Rock Island. I know that they've been you know, as far as another thing is, I think we need to reach out and maybe they could help us do that to different, you know, companies, maybe large companies that could benefit from our, you know, this positioning in the Midwest locally, and you know the forms of transportation we have, the building structures we have available for maybe a large business to really do well here. We've got the workforce. We've got, you know, our cost of living is not a terrible thing. The cost of living here is pretty decently positioned to really attract some. Maybe you know, maybe Dari can help us, you know, find some outside sources too to bring things to this economy to help businesses. along with the local businesses and establish their strengths. You know, we're going to have some decisions here of how to maybe help fund some of these businesses that have hurt with COVID. I think Dari would be a big impact on helping us determine in some ways to benefit the local businesses here and to help expand those and bring new business to the Rock Island city of Rock Island.
Thank you. Judith Higgins-Gilbert, same question. What advantages do you see to the public-private partnership between the City of Rock Island and Dari, and how will you collaborate and strengthen that alliance?
Well, first of all, I was just thrilled when the announcement was made that the city was collaborating and entering into this partnership with Dari. I have every confidence in the economic development team led by Liz Tallman and Tara Sipes. I was very impressed with the work plan that was presented at the study session. It was very thorough, even though there's a lot in that work plan with the 8 key areas, everything from focusing on business retention and expansion to new economic development, as well as marketing and communication, which is key as well, too. I was very impressed with the thoroughness of the plan and how much they've accomplished already in the most recent March 8th report to the City Council. So the work plan was very thorough. The metrics are well thought out, and I think that the way we can strengthen that alliance is to hold Dari and the city to the metrics, hold them accountable for what they say they're going to accomplish in the time frame that they've set out, because we really do have a lot of work to do in this area. So thank you, Dari.
Judith Higgins-Gilbert, thank you. Lori Figley, your turn. What advantages do you see to the public-private partnership between the City of Rock Island and Dari, and how will you strengthen that alliance?
Well, first, to go along with what Moses said, I'm the new kid, and I'm learning about Dari every day. We are all very grateful that Dari is working with us. We'd be lost without them. Communication. We need constant communication with Dari. We have a task force that helps with the downtown. I think we can all work together with Dari. They can teach us so much about improving and maintaining our city for the long run. We can improve several areas. We can clean up the area. And I think between the task force and Dari and communication, we can maintain the wonderful history that we have and at the same time help move into the future, like our sister cities.
Thank you, Lori Figley. Dylan Parker, again, what advantages do you see to the public-private partnership between the City of Rock Island and Dari, and how will you collaborate and strengthen the alliance?
Thanks, Jim, and thank you to Dari, the board members, staff here from Dari. 4 years ago, when I first ran for city council, the relationship between Dari and the City of Rock Island was significantly different. I think we can, I'll just put it that way. And it has been probably, if not my most proud, one of my most proud achievements in my first term on council, of shepherding through and being part of the team that has facilitated this new economic development service agreement between the City of Rock Island and Dari. I remember 2 years ago or so sitting in City Manager Tweet's office with then Dari employee Eric Reeder talking about how do we reconfigure this relationship between the city and Dari. And like Judith said, immensely proud and happy to be joining the two together back in 2020 last year to get it across the finish line. And it has transformed, it has radically transformed the way that this city does economic development. And I think that cannot be understated. What benefit do I see with the relationship? Now, the City of Rock Island is the only municipality in the Quad Cities that I'm aware of that has pursued economic development by partnering quite literally with the private sector. Dari is an association of private sector realtors, developers, the very bankers, the very institutions that you need to do economic development. And now the city has effectively partnered and is funding Dari to do economic development. I mean, instead of hiring more people inside of City Hall to go knock on the doors of realtors to say, hey, would you do business in Rock Island? Now we've partnered with them to do business in Rock Island. It transforms the relationship and it sets us up for future Moving forward, I look forward to continuing to support the relationship, figuring out how the city can allocate more resources to it. I think in just a few months that this has been going on, I've demonstrated great success, and I will be more than happy to continue exploring new programs with Dari.
Dylan Parker, thank you, and thank you to all of the candidates for answering the question. We'll move on to question number 3. Do things a little different this round. We're going to start in the middle and work our way out, just to keep it fair to everybody. The third question, then we'll start with you, Judith Higgins-Gilbert. What, in your opinion, are the best economic development approaches and incentives to attract new investment to Rock Island?
Thank you for the question, Jim. I have quite a lengthy history of an experience in economic development, both here in the Quad Cities as well as back in Chicago from where I came from. So I've always felt that the best economic development approach is to start with your existing businesses. You need to focus first on business retention and paying attention to the businesses you have and seeing what can be done to help them expand before you prioritize going out looking for new businesses. So I feel that's really critical. One of the things I'd like to say about incentives, and incentives typically are offered to new businesses, not always so much to our existing businesses. So maybe we need to fix that as well too. One of the problems I've had over the years with incentives is that a lot of times developers are handed blank checks before they even have any skin in the game, so to speak. And I've seen time and time again where developers walk away, the city's left holding the bag at great financial cost to the community. So it's very important that developers get some skin in the game as well up front, and that there are clawbacks in any redevelopment agreement so that the city is not left in a worse off financial situation. Thank you.
Judith Higgins-Gilbert, thank you. Lori Figley, you'll be up next here. What, in your opinion, are the best economic development approaches and incentives to attract new investment to Rock Island?
Well, I would say one is, like Judith said, we need to maintain the businesses we have now, help make them stronger, help them to thrive, improve them. We need to hold on to them. We need to strengthen them, and then we need to create new business. We need to step outside our box, see what other cities have, work with them, get ideas from them on helping to create new business, expand some of ours, such as, for example, the Pancake House. It started out as Gus's, it built on, it's added, it's improved, and it's phenomenal. And thus, they've made so much money, they've bought some of the businesses. They own some of the other businesses and are gonna do, I don't know what with, but we need things like that to help expand our business, beautify our business, improve the storefronts, and get new business.
Lori Figley, thank you. Jeffrey Westerfield, it'll be your turn here. What, in your opinion, are the best economic development approaches and incentives to attract new investment to Rock Island?
Well, I think that marketing the Rock Island in a way would be an excellent first start. I don't think we market ourselves as the way that we should, as far as you know, we've got a lot of great things happening in here at Rock Island to support business, to attract business. But, you know, just to, you know, really maybe find some type of marketing campaign that would be effective to really boost our, you know, just the feel of and the vibe here in Rock Island. You know, I talked about matching. Yes, I think that businesses should have some skin in the game, and where we can match funds or supply grants to those that need you know, somewhat of a facelift to their business. And it all comes down to too is what we've talked about with just improving some of these areas to give us some marketing ideas and some marketing backbone as far as what we do downtown and what improvements are made. And once we get a little, you know, get that snowball rolling, I think that, you know, would go a long way. I do believe in giving tax incentives to new business, and as well as, helping some struggling business out with the current situation, especially. Maybe we can come together with some good incentive packages for new business and for existing business. But I think it's a big part is just generating a real feeling of growth here in Rock Island. And to do that, and we might have the capability to do some of those things here in the short period of time, which can really bring some a little bit of energy here into this economy in Rock Island.
Jeffrey Westerfield, thank you. Go over to Dylan Parker for this one. What, in your opinion, are the best economic development approaches and incentives to attract new investment to Rock Island?
Thanks for the question, Jim. I have learned over the first 4 years of me being on city council that economic development is not successful when you approach it like you're playing Sim City or something, right? When City Hall says, okay, we're going to put this business here and we're going to do this over there. The better approach, in my opinion, is to make kingmakers within your own community, right? When the city sits back and says, who out of our own constituency is really excited, really dedicated, really working hard to make something, right? And then we allocate resources to those people versus thinking that City Hall, we have the crystal ball and we can figure out what's going to work here. Rather sit back and identify who are the organic leaders in our community and how can we empower them to succeed. Dari's programs that you're funding this year are a good example of the Rock Island Seed and Grow programs, where it might just be $500 to get your business idea incorporated, but that is the push that gets entrepreneurs and creative types going along their path. That's not Dari saying, we need this business here, right? No, that's saying, hey, if you are an active member of our community and you want to do something in Rock Island, we have these resources for you. I think that is a far more effective way than the city of Rock Island quarterbacking, trying to recruit or build some business there. I think we saw what happened when we tried to do that on things like 11th Street, Watchtower Plaza. Regarding incentives, they are important. We need to use them strategically and intelligently. However, like a lot of my colleagues have said, it's important to make sure that the city is being mindful of taking care of the fiduciary responsibilities of our taxpayers. I have voted no on a number of incentives while being on city council because I thought that they were inappropriate, and I'd be more than happy to continue doing that moving forward.
Dylan Parker, thank you. Last person, but certainly not least for this round, is Mr. Robinson, Moses Robinson Jr. What, in your opinion, are the best economic development approaches and incentives to attract new investment to Rock Island?
I think Ms. Gilbert said it best. You really need to take care of the businesses you already have here within the city. I have to use an analogy of when I have my travel basketball. I have tons of teams that are competing for the same girls that I coach and then I maintain. So I have to make sure it's something that they want to be at. I got to give them the best equipment. I have to give them the best uniforms. I have to have the toughest schedule. So I have to have it worth their while to want to continue to come back to my program. It's the same thing with a business. You want to make them understand that they are worth everything that they're giving to the city of Rock Island. We also have to continue to find out what makes us unique. It's kind of hard when you have so many different cities within so close of a geographical area. So you have to stand out. You have to find something that's different from the other cities that are competing to the same thing that you're trying to do. So you have to have that approach that you want to see what makes you unique from everyone else that can continue to give you that upper hand. Thank you.
Moses Robinson Jr., thank you. Move on to our final question. This one is only a 1-minute response, and we'll go with the same format we did for the first question, so we'll go from my right to left. Dylan Parker, you're first, and we can have a little fun with this one. First of all, what do you believe are the best, why do you believe you are the best candidate to serve Rock Island? And if you had a walkout song, what would that be? I didn't come up with the question.
Song. What? And I'm first. Okay, great.
Well, you've got experience.
Yeah, I guess so. Can you repeat the question, please?
Well, the first one is why do you feel you're the best candidate, and then to serve in Rock Island, and if you had The walkout song. Come on, we've all watched people accept their awards at certain things. They get a walkout song, or a relief pitcher coming into baseball. There's their walkout song. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm blanking.
What's the theme to
I'm
Dylan
blanking
Parker?
on that. Oh, goodness. Okay, so why am I the best candidate? I can hopefully answer that one. So I believe that the voters of Rock Island's 5th Ward would be best suited by re-electing me because of my experience and my creative out-of-the-box thinking and my hard work. I put in a lot of hours into this job. It certainly does not pay like a job, but I pretty much treat it like a full-time job. Meeting with constituents, going to neighborhood meetings, meeting with potential businesses, with Dari. I put in the hours, and over the past 4 years, I've gotten the experience I've had the opportunity to learn how this works. And I feel like now that I'm just figuring out where the levers of power are, that we can actually start turning this ship around in Rock Island. All right, regarding my
Your walkout song.
my
We're all waiting for
walkout
that
song,
one. That's the punchline, right?
I'm seriously blanking on this one. I do not know.
You got a favorite band out there somewhere, right?
I'm going to pass on this one. Sorry.
Wow. Voters will decide on that question alone, I'm sure.
Come back.
You have a little time. Well, since you went first, we'll give you a little break. Lori Vigley, you've had a little time to think about that a little bit. So why do you believe, first of all, you are the best candidate to serve Rock Island? Of course, we want to know the walkout. So you might want to get that out of the way quickly if you already know what it is.
Okay, you know what? I will tell you, my walkout song, Don't Stop Believin'.
There you go. All right.
And thank you for the levity, Alderman Parker.
No problem. Happy to
We need a
stall.
little of that sometimes. Well, I think I would make a good choice, the better choice, because I have new eyes, although I've dedicated my whole life, 57 years, to Rock Island. I want to see it thrive. We need to work together as a team. We need to move forward. We need to show pride in Rock Island. And I'm the kind of person that will either get on a soapbox about something I'm passionate about, like the city, and talk for hours. I will also listen. 2 things I can promise. I will always listen to my constituents and my colleagues, and I will always find the answer. If I don't have the answer to their question, I know somebody in a department somewhere that has it, and I'll get it back to them. And that's how I feel, and I won't stop believing.
Lori Vigley, thank you. And that's a good walkout song. I'll prove with it.
Jim, quickly, I came up with
Oh,
my
came up with
answer.
one. So we're going back here.
Yeah.
All right, Dylan Parker.
I would do Lead Belly's Rock Island Line.
Oh, there you
Classic.
go. Okay.
Thanks.
Judith Higgins Gilbert, same question. Why do you believe you're the best candidate to serve Rock Island? Of course, we got to know what that all-important walkout song would be.
Okay. So I feel that I am the experienced candidate for 3rd Ward Alderman. I've served 3 different municipalities, including Rock Island, as their city clerk for more than 3 years. I was Economic Development Director for the City of Kelowna, and I was an elected trustee for the Bishop Hill Village Board. So I can be effective from day one as an alderman because I know firsthand. I know the city's challenges, the city's budget, and the city staff already. In terms of my walkout song, I have to say, this sounds a little strange, but it's Can't Help Falling in Love. I've only been in Rock Island really a short time, but the people that I've met in Rock Island through my work as city clerk and during my campaign, they are the most amazing people. And Rock Islanders have more passion for their city than any other community I've lived in. And so kudos to Rock Islanders.
Thank you for the little romantic spin on that one as well. Or thank you. Jeffrey Westerfield, you're familiar with the question by now. Why do you believe you're the best candidate to serve in Rock Island? And yes, what is your walkout song?
Yeah. Well, I will do my best to get all the information before I make any determination on direction. I'll be transparent with any of my thoughts and the issues of Rock Island. I'd be an open ear to my ward and serve their needs and their desires. I've lived in Rock Island. I grew up in Rock Island. I know what Rock Island was. I'd like to work on getting some of those areas that were, like 11th Street, 18th Avenue, downtown, kind of back on track to make it a desirable place for this community. I have a great affection for the people of Rock Island and the capabilities of Rock Island, and would like to do my best to put the work in to serve it. And I guess my walkout song would be "My Kind of Town Rock Island Is," I guess, that,
Little Sinatra for
yeah,
us.
little Sinatra going.
Jeffrey
Yep.
Westerfield, thank you. Moses Robinson Jr., what do you believe, why do you believe you are the best candidate to serve in Rock Island, and what would your walkout song be?
I believe I'm the best candidate because of my passion. I've been giving back to the city for years, for a number of years, ever since I returned back from my stint in the United States Marine Corps. My goal was always to try to prepare the youth for the next level, so being that next citizen for the city of Rock Island, either being professionally or, you know, just doing something different than what they usually typically do. My follow through, I have a knack of continue to follow through on anything I start. And being okay with not knowing everything. It's not the fact that I have to be the smartest person in the room, but the fact that I might know the smartest person and get the answer from them and give it back to the person. So my walkout song would be "Order My Steps," because this is a destiny. This is not something that was just, I woke up and decided to do this. I'm here for a reason. I was placed here for a reason, and I continue to work for that reason.
Thank you. Moses Robinson Jr., Jeffrey Westerfield, Judith Higgins Gilbert, Lori Figley, and Dylan Parker, thank you so much for answering all the questions thoughtfully and truthfully. It's an important decision that all the voters of Rock Island will be making, and coming up on April 6th, so thank you for your time. We're going to take a short break from our aldermanic candidates and set up for the mayoral candidates coming up, but thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hey. Yeah. I'm not a great listener, but I'm a great, woman.
Very good job. Thank you.
Thanks, Liz.
I didn't step on my words too much.
Thank you, very good.
I'm working on it.
Take a 5-minute.
You have to sing your walkout song.
That's the longest he's been quiet, isn't it?
Is that too far apart?
That'll be okay.
Yeah. So I think that gets you the.
I would remove the chair from the middle.
Tim, is that too far? Okay. There's just, it's a.
No,
That's too far, but. And you can, if you need to mute.
That's fine.
Yeah, it's good,
They
Andrew.
were good answers. People are giving their thoughtful
Yeah,
answers.
whenever you're ready.
Oh, we have the 5 minutes is up here? I wasn't sure.
5, I didn't time it.
How about the timers? You guys time it? Yeah, we're good.
We are back to the corned beef and candidates forum. We are now moving on to our mayoral candidates portion of the discussion. I'd like to introduce the two mayoral candidates. To my left is Thurgood Brooks, and to my right, Mike Tomes. It says Michael on your card. I'm so used to calling you Mike Tomes.
I have the answer to a lot of things, but it works.
We'll alternate who goes first in each round. We'll have 4 questions. You guys are familiar with the rules by now, and you actually might be familiar with the questions at this point. So we'll start with you, Mayor Mike Tomes. Question number 1, if elected, what would be your top 3 priorities, and how do you plan to involve the business community in your role as mayor?
You know, the top 3 priorities is always, well, top number 1 is always economic development. As was mentioned in the aldermanic ones, we need stability. We need that growth of revenue on other avenues with that besides property taxes. And so we need to increase on growing businesses. And I also believe in the existing businesses. Statistically, I've read and talked of it, 80% of your growth is typically with the existing businesses that you have in town. And so I think we need to continue to nurture those. I think we've done that for the last several years. We worked very hard at that this pandemic year to help them survive with giving them grants, not loans, but grants, the best we can in the monies that we had available to us. So we need to continue to grow the economy. Working together, once again, relationships, private-public partnerships, whether it be with Dari, whether it be with the Chamber, whether it be with other cities. So we need to do that. We held quarterly town hall meetings until the pandemic hit, but I want to continue to do those and involve the community that way. Is the biggest way is to have a forum with not just myself, not just task force, but having either city staff and or the council members there to be able to work with the constituents. I think it's very important to bring that all together so it's not just singular with the mayor or just task force orientated, which we have a number of task force and we've put some together, but I think that that was a very good thing to do, which then involves the third issue, which is listening. Continue to not only have those, but listen to what people have to say. Answer phone calls, emails, text messages, get back with citizens. It is very invigorating to get out and talk to people as they're knocking on doors and hear what they have to say, educate them on the issues. So those are the 3 primary things, is growing the economy, working together, and listening.
Mike Tomes, thank you. Mr. Thurgood Brooks, same question over to you. If elected, what will be your top 3 priorities, and how do you plan to involve the business community in your role as mayor?
Thank you, Jim, and thanks to Dari for having us. I appreciate it. It's simple for me, and it's a staple of who I've been all my life, especially since I've been back home upon graduating from Western Illinois over these past 5 years. It's transparency, it's inclusion, and perhaps most importantly, it's follow through. And so what I look forward to doing, and what I've been doing, not only throughout my campaign with my 21-person team that's diverse and represents all of Rock Island, that's allowed me to get into areas that I may not have been into before and be tapped in and engaged behind the concerns of those constituents and businesses. And I've learned that we have not been as friendly, we have not communicated on a regular basis with all our businesses. And those people do business. Government does not do business. Government's job is to aid and regulate when appropriate businesses to ensure that the borders in which that government has influence over is able to be a resource to those constituents and provide the proper service that the businesses need to grow and thrive. And so I believe by including all residents in Rock Island, not by it being a mindset, but being intentional in that matter, you will see economic development and you'll see growth because you're actually doing the work beyond simply what may come to you, so to speak.
Mr. Brooks, thank you. Move on to our second question of this discussion. And we'll start with you, Mr. Brooks, this time. What advantages do you see to the public-private partnership between the City of Rock Island and Dari, and how you collaborate and strengthen that alliance?
That's critical. It goes back to your first question. I alluded to, and I was clear actually, to the fact that businesses do business and government does government. And so the partnership that we have with Dari, I think it's a good one we have right thus far. And you can enhance that by looking to Dari, who does great work, to what I can bring to the table is some more diversity, which is Rock Island's greatest asset. And in the relationships that I've been able to build beyond what we may be involved in currently. And that does not mean we're taking away from what we're doing right now. It means we're enhancing it. We're making it better because we need to involve all partners and all facets of Rock Islanders to make Rock Island what it should be. Because I do believe, Jim, on the bottom of my heart, that Rock Island has ample talent, ample creativity, and the right people here in place already to move us forward, so long that we have a leadership that is actively engaged and that refuses to neglect areas of Rock Island by including both public and private sectors and potential private sectors that may have been disenfranchised or not included or just simply not heard out on a regular basis, Jim.
Mr. Brooks, thank you. Mr. Tome, same question. What advantages do you see to the public-private partnership between the City of Rock Island, and how would you collaborate and strengthen that alliance?
Partnerships are very critical with private-public, and the advantage are, number one, is you can leverage public dollars with private dollars. And to give the example of Dari, is that the cities put money in, and their members that have membership dues are putting money in. So we're able to leverage and get more done by putting those things together versus individually. And so it works real well, along with then the talent that you can hire and attract to be able to execute those things, those projects, whether it be economic development. Of course, then once again, you talk proof in the pudding or working with it. Chamber we're working with on a downtown manager. And then it's great success at Douglas Park, Hallberg Center. When you do partnerships with private individuals, it's amazing what you can get done. I agree, there's a lot of talent in the Quad Cities, and by engaging the citizens, like we have in Douglas Park and Hallberg Center, and engaging businesses, like we have with Dari, it's a great advantage. We've also done partnerships with the cities and federal government. We just signed a 10-year agreement to handle the water maintenance of the water system on the island. It brought more revenue to the city, saved the federal government money. So we continue those partnerships. And to do that, I think we just keep looking at ways to enhance that. There's other areas that we can do it, whether it be Sunset Marina and the Friends of Sunset Marina. There's other areas that we can expand that on and leverage the public and private partnerships. I think we'll see that in downtown here in the next couple of years with taking the stakeholders and the building owners, and taking some of their dollars with city dollars and leveraging it and revitalizing the downtown area. So I think there's a lot of room to grow, and we need to continue to encourage those type of partnerships. I, for a while, was president of the Dari organization for 2.5 years. We had a great relationship at that time. It did drift, and now we're back with that relationship stronger than ever.
Mr. Tomes, thank you. We're going to move on to our third question, and we'll start with you again here, Mr. Tomes. What, in your opinion, are the best economic development approaches and incentives to attract new investment to Rock Island?
The first approach is to get to know people with the businesses and or building owners. So we need to continue to and expand on getting the relationships with the existing businesses that we have here in Rock Island. When you have those, then you can get the insights of what their thoughts are in their businesses, what their plans are to expand or retract if, unfortunately, that they're having to do that. But staying on top of that, I think, is the number one thing, is having that relationship with the existing ones. The other ones, tools to have to incentivize everything else. TIFs are used in the right situation, but they should not be overused. I feel that we need to give some incentives to compete with other cities, not just in the Quad Cities, but other states. And you can do that with rebating property taxes, working with the school systems and working with their part of this tax. So it's not as long as commitment as a TIF. You can phase it in. There's more flexibility in the percentages that you work with. And so that's a great advantage to use and a tool to have, along with CURLIF, a revolving loan program, low interest, higher risk than, it usually take a little higher risk than banks take, and offer some capital to a business is a revolving loan, is another way. We just just got accomplished down here, the historic district in the downtown, so now historic tax credits is another big tool that we've actually, the city has made that investment and been able to do the background work, so it's a lot easier for a building owner or a developer to be able to work on those type of credits. We do have an opportunity zone, 2 opportunity zones in the city of Rock Island that we can work with, and an enterprise zone, which relieves sales tax on construction. So those tools are out there to be used. We have some new opportunities here just recently with the new relief package that we're unsure exactly what's going to happen and whether we can use it or not. So you got to continue to look at those. Earmark situations are coming back. And so can we look at earmarks in projects? So we need to continue to work with those type of avenues as best we can with what we have to work with.
Mr. Tomes, thank you. Mr. Brooks, your turn. What, in your opinion, are the best economic development approaches and incentives to attract new investment to Rock Island?
I might sound a little redundant here, Jim, but it gets back to that first question again, some inclusion. And so Rock Island has a lot of great things already, and we don't speak to a lot of things that we do great. Mike mentioned our school district. That's one partnership we can engage in. That partnership that we do not have currently at the city level can go beyond finances and financial help. And so, but it can have a profound impact on not only the next level and generation of Rock Islanders, but the ones that currently are employed in the city and the district. And so as for how we can do economic development, I believe that we could definitely look at ways we can incentivize, especially new startup projects, because we need traffic. We have traffic issues here. And you do that by, once again, our greatest asset, I said, Jim, is our diversity. People travel miles and miles away to experience culture. And a lot of that culture we have right here in our back home. And if we were to engage at the city level, be creative, be bold, and follow through, I guarantee, I don't make many promises, Jim, because I learned better to be in this chair now that you can't make promises, but I guarantee this. If we engage with all residents and all cultures actively beyond the mindset again and follow through, Rock Island will be great, and it's already great, but it will be greater because people will see and know that the borders of Rock Island are a place to be, and they would not help but travel across the bridge or across any other roads that we will fix to come and visit Rock Islanders in our Rock Island establishments.
Mr. Brooks, thank you. Move on to our final question of the day, and this is a 1-minute response to both of you. If you're paying attention earlier, you'll be familiar with it. Why do you believe you are the best candidate to serve as mayor of Rock Island? And if you had that famous walkout song, what would it be?
Well, Dylan definitely helped me out, go through the pause. Looked at my iTunes a little bit and see if I played it before. But I'll answer your first question.
It's a good resource, by the way.
Definitely, especially when you have a playlist. But Jim, beyond the fact that I believe I'm the best person for the job at this point, we both care about Rock Island, that's understood. But Jim, I'm tapped into Rock Island, and that goes beyond simply looking at ways that we have always done things. We need to look at ways to rejuvenate and revitalize what we are doing and where we're going. And my team represents that. My 21-person team, I said before, it represents how well we can work together as Rock Islanders through our diversities and our diversity in different appearances as far as what we could do. And so as for a song, you said a walkout song means you're celebrating, essentially. I'll refer to Bill Weathers, and I'll go with Lovely Day.
Very good. Mr. Brooks, thank you. Mike Tomes, same question. Why do you believe you're the best candidate to serve as mayor of Rock Island, and what would your walkout song be? I think a lot of people want to hear your walkout song.
I'm not a music buff, so it's a stretch for me, that's for sure. But the reason why I think I have it is, number one, a proven record the last 4 years. Being an incumbent, I guess you have that in some cases. And so I have a proven record, and to accomplish a number of things. But I got to say that I is not the right way. It's we in this last 4 years in accomplishment. And we accomplished economic growth. We accomplished working together, private, public, and as a council, and then listening to people, having town hall meetings. So we accomplished and worked with that, and I say we. The other is we've added a lot of jobs. We've cut a lot of expenses, haven't done just status quo, continue to work at reducing expenses, finding ways to be more efficient. But then even that, it go back to my history before mayor, the qualifications. I ran as president of the Dari and Rock Island Economic Growth Organization for 2.5 years, working on growth in housing and affordable housing, by the way, affordable housing, and in commercial growth, downtown and throughout the city. So I got that experience along with a number of our growth years at TPC and managing a good number of people in my former business. So with that experience, I believe I'm a qualified candidate to be mayor.
Well, take us away with that walkout song, Miss. We're not letting you off the hook.
Dang it. Dylan didn't get off the hook either, but
He tried, but
he tried. That's exactly right. But how about the Rock Island Milan School fight song?
Okay, there you go. Well, thank you both to Mike Tomes, Thurgood Brooks for your thoughtful answers, and thank you to all the aldermanic candidates who were up here earlier for this corned beef and candidates forum. Of course, Election Day is April 6th, and I think the voters of Rock Island are fortunate to have not only the two of you, but of course all of the aldermanic candidates who are so committed and passionate about the city. That only makes the choices more important, but also knows that there are a lot of good choices to be made. Thank you, and thank you to everyone watching
Thank you,
at home.
Jim, for moderating this, and thank you, Dari, for hosting it. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it. It's fun.
Well, this concludes today's 2021 Corned Beef for Candidates debate. In closing, I'd like to reminder to everybody that today's forum will be available on Dari's Facebook page and website, along with the City of Rock Island's YouTube channel. Again, I'd like to thank all the candidates and Dari members for attending today's forum. Also, a big thanks to Jim here for moderating today's event. And last but not least, be sure to get out and vote on April 6th. Thank you.
Well said. Forgot that part.
And we're still on for tomorrow.
Yes.